As controversial as it may be, I'm afraid that this Doctor Who season finale is probably heading towards adding to the Timeless Child canon. Now, I quite like the Timeless Children as an episode. Yeah, I said it, I'll say it again. I quite like that, but I know that the internet immediately hears the word Timeless Child and goes into a bit of a frenzy. But I don't think it's the end of the world. I think there could be some good additional canon adding. I just hope that they don't answer the question, Doctor Who. That's the name of the show. That's the mystery. We don't want to know everything about the Doctor. But I think we're going to learn a lot more. And Russell's already said, I talked about it in my last video, but we're going to learn where Bi-Generation came from. And this season finale doesn't just act as a season finale, it's sort of a finale to Ncuti's era so far. That's provided he hopefully has more seasons in the future. It also kind of ties up, even going back to the 60th specials, like the Meep and the whole boss arc. That's got to be the Rani. It's probably tying all of that together. So in this video, we're going to be discussing how all of this, how Ncuti's promise in interviews from April of learning more about the Doctor's past, learning more about Time Lord lore, how all of this ties together. But first, let's take a look at some of the recent posts that Russell T Davies, current showrunner, has made over on Instagram. Just like last week, he started doing these sort of cryptic paragraphs saying, what does this entail? What does this add up to mean? What's going on in the next week's episode? They're like nice little bits of promotion, but there's some interesting things to read there. So let's take a look at the first one he posted, which is this. The Bone Palace. La Palace d'Oz. I don't know what that means. Is that French? But someone tell me in the comments. Coming this week in The Reality War. Why that clock? Why the seal of Rassilon? And what are the bone beasts for? Saturday at 6:50 p.m. on BBC One and Disney Plus worldwide. So our first question, why that clock? Well, in the trailer, it would appear that that clock has, like, light bursting out of it, which is flying towards the seal of Rassilon. And then I'm going to take an educated guess and say that the clock face turns itself into the seal of Omega. Now, if Omega is returning as a god, he says in the Three Doctors, he says, I should have been a god. So if he's got his wish world, Omega's got his wish, he will now be a god. Maybe not part of the Pantheon, maybe part of the Pantheon, but whatever god he is, what's his title? So you got like Lux, the god of light. You've got the Toymaker, the god of games. You've got the Trickster, the god of tricks. You've got all of this. So Omega, the god of time. Time Lords. He's said to be by Conrad the first Time Lord. If he's literally coming out of a clock, there's your answer, Russell. Why that clock? Omega is coming out of the clock. He is the god of time. Maybe that's why the Rani wants him. He's going to be able to turn back time to before he got thrown through the black hole, before all of this, and create a perfect Gallifrey. The question, though, directly after this, why the Seal of Rassilon, intrigues me greatly. I don't think we're going to see him, but are we going to see Rassilon back? Like, this would probably, if we do see Rassilon, it would be cool, but it would probably be a too many cooks spoil the broth type scenario. Do we really need two Ranis, a wish baby that's also a god and part of the Pantheon, Conrad, Omega, and Rassilon? That's so many villains in one episode, it would be kind of mad. But I think it's more likely that the significance of having the Seal of Rassilon there is, look, if you want to see why, go and check out my big Who is Omega video, which, by the way, thank you all so much for the support on that. It's the viewing figures on that are going mad. But Omega and Rassilon in the present day have beef. They used to be friends or lovers, and now they've got mad beef. So maybe the Rani is fueling Omega's rage. Because, look, I think you can, if you've seen the Three Doctors, Omega's got anger issues, okay? It's understandable. He's been lost for a long time. But that man, it does not take much to make him go, Rah! And if he sees Rassilon's seal there, he's probably going to get quite angry. And maybe the Rani's going to fuel his hatred for Rassilon into creating this new perfect Time Lord society where she is in charge rather than someone like Rassilon. Maybe she says to Omega, look, I've brought you back and will only bring you back if you put me in charge of this new Gallifrey. Maybe their quest is to get rid of the Pantheon, get rid of the gods. The Rani wants the universe to return to a structured scientific order of things. That may be her goal. She's a scientist at heart, a misguided, psychopathic, evil scientist. So maybe she's fed up of this mythical stuff, of these wishes. She wants rid of it. Maybe. I think I almost just expressed doubt there because this mug almost smashed. I apologise, Conrad. But yeah, maybe this is all part of the Rani's plan. Now, let's take a look at the other thing that Russell T Davy said over here on Instagram. He says, back in action on Saturday in The Reality War. Gemma Redgrave as Kate Lethbridge Stewart and Alexander Devrient as Colonel Christopher Ibrahim. Can they save the day with the help of secrets on floor -10 of the unit tower? Now, this, I presume, educated guess again, is going to be that vault thing that we saw in the trailer get put on the unit helipad, just like they did with the Shriek. Unit are going to go into their secret Torchwood-like underground archive, pick out some weapon or creature to help fight the bone beasts, and they're going to plonk it on top of that helipad. I mean, we've theorised that it's the Master, Missy, perhaps. The Golden Tooth was picked up by Kate Stewart, locked away in a vault. Could it be the Toymaker or another god? If this idea of the Rani trying to bring back science and get rid of mythical stuff in the universe is true, maybe they're going to use a god to fight a god. But what are they bringing out? Could it potentially be the Hand of Omega? Is that maybe this mythical device which was seen in Remembrance of the Daleks, has that somehow fallen into Unit's possession through some sort of time travel shenanigans? If they own it, maybe that's why the Seal of Rassilon is relevant, because it was both Rassilon and Omega who worked on that project together. It's a stellar manipulator, it can destroy stars and stuff. What if Unit are using Omega's technology against him? Probably not, though. We'll just have to wait and see. Let me know your theories on what's in that box. It would be cool if it's the Master, but let's be real. It's not going to be the Master, is it? Anyway, this continues because we've got a fun piece of news here. Also on Saturday after Doctor Who, the first trailer tease for the War Between the Land and the Sea on BBC One and in cinemas. So we're probably going to get our first look at the controversial Sea Devil redesign, which I'm excited for. I'm intrigued to see where that all goes. But those are Russell's comments. Let's get to theorising, okay? Why do I think that the Timeless Child arc may be properly continued, and that Poppy, in fact, may be the Timeless Child? The last we saw of the Doctor at the end of the Reality War, at the end of Wishworld, was him yelling, "Poppy is real, you don't understand, but Poppy's real." Now, is that because, after the Doctor's got his memories back, he's just realised, oh, Poppy is actually Poppy, Captain Poppy, the space baby. He's recognised her. He's clocked that something's wrong because this isn't just a fictitious child. She's actually a space baby. Or has his memory sort of triggered into knowing something else? They said in the plot synopsis for the finale in Doctor Who magazine that we're going to uncover secrets of the Doctor. Not stuff that the Doctor doesn't know, but stuff that the Doctor's hidden. What if the Doctor somehow knows that Captain Poppy is either his child or Susan's mother or something along these lines, or the Timeless Child, and it suddenly hit him. He's suddenly remembered. I mean, if Shooty's comments as well at the start of the year about, when I read the scripts we learnt more about the Doctor and Gallifreyan mythology certainly tie into this, plus the ambiguous nature of the fugitive Doctor's reappearance in the latest episode, not the latest episode, sorry, it was like 3 episodes ago, but in the Story in the Engine, the fugitive Doctor crops up, and 15 seemingly has memories of her life, which he previously wouldn't have canonically had. So, has 15's memory somehow, somewhere been restored? And maybe he knows more about the Timeless Child than he's been letting on. Maybe he caved and looked into that pocket watch from Flux. Or maybe that's too direct a sequel to what happened in Flux and Russell wouldn't go there. I don't know, but I think there's a chance, right? Because if the Rani wants Poppy as well, why is Poppy here? She's got to have some form of big significance. Why in this wish world was she linked with the Doctor? It would make sense if the Rani, in fact, wanted to continue Tecteyun's experiments and science stuff. The Rani is at heart a scientist. What if the Rani wants to continue the experiments done by Tecteyun on the Timeless Child to see what new Gallifreyans she can create with the help of Omega? Maybe that's where all of this is headed. Or maybe the Doctor has realised that Poppy is actually his real daughter. Season 1 made quite the emphasis on the ambiguity around Time Lords and Time Lords' children. There's that controversial moment in the season finale where the Doctor sort of says to Kate, like, yeah, I've had kids, but Time Lords have kids out of order, kind of thing. Like, it's quite vague as to what they're talking about, but what if that was all set up for the fact that Poppy is Susan's mum? Now, it's a confusing timeline because Susan looks like the oldest of them in the real world, but obviously she'd technically be the youngest. You'd have the Doctor as the father, then Poppy as his child, then Susan as her child. So maybe that's where we're running. I mean, it's only a concept that a show as time-travel-y and as bonkers as Doctor Who could pull off, but maybe that's where we're headed. I mean, it would certainly explain why Susan keeps cropping up. If Poppy is her mum and the Doctor is her grandfather, she's trying to break through to them. Maybe whatever the Rani and Omega's plan of bringing back the Time Lords is needing to be foiled by Susan, her mum, and the Doctor. Captain Poppy has got to tie into this in a bigger way than just Space Baby. And because of Ncuti's comments and stuff, there's got to be some form of explanation as to the Doctor's past. I really think the Timeless Child thing is going to crop up somewhere here. If you're bringing in Omega, like, Omega knew Tecteyun, Omega knew all of these secrets, so, like, how does that tie in? Is perhaps, rather than Poppy being the Timeless Child, let's say Poppy is the Doctor's daughter, what if baby Desiderium, let's call him Des, what if baby Des, good old baby Des is actually the Timeless Child? What if we're gonna, I don't think we will, it would be controversial, the world would break, there'd be riots, but what if we're gonna discover the truth behind the Timeless Child, and we're gonna discover that the Doctor was actually a god? He was the god of wishes, but because he was quite nice as a baby, whatever, at the end of this episode, he gets flung through the boundary, and it all becomes one big full circle moment. That baby, that wish baby, baby Des, is the Doctor. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's certainly a scary possibility. Let me know your thoughts and your theories in the comments down below. Where do you think this finale's headed? It could go any direction. I genuinely have no idea. It's kind of scary, but I'm here. I'm strapped in. I'm excited. Let's see where it goes. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, like, comment, subscribe, share. You know the drill. Thank you and goodbye.
Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Confused Adipose YouTube channel.
I will destroy you! She's not seen a single episode.
No, I've watched your episodes.
Keep these sonic screwdrivers.
What else am I saying about the film? Don't watch this one.